You hungry?
Yeah, I could eat.
You sure we should do this?
No.
Jesse. Huh? This isn't creepy pasta.
You're right.
These are
Spooky Noodles!
friendly ghost. My friend lives in this old house. There's nothing really that sinister about it. For some reason I always get the heebie-jeebies when I went over there. It bothered me for years, till finally I brought it up to him, just in a passing comment. "Oh, you're right," he immediately said. "The house is definitely haunted. I think that's why my mum got such a good price on it." As luck would have it, I was sleeping over at his house that very night. I found myself tossing and turning, unable to shake the feeling I was being watched. "Winston," I asked him, "are you awake?" "Yeah, what's up?" he replied. "That ghost you mentioned, what exactly does it do?" I don't know why I brought it up. Maybe I thought talking about it would make me feel better somehow. Winston didn't seem to mind. "All sorts of things," he said. "Like if Mum forgets to tuck me in." Keep in mind Winston is a teenager. "I'll wake up the next day with my blankets all perfect and cozy. He'll write little notes on the fridge like, 'Get milk' or 'Meeting Saturday.' If we go to bed, he'll leave the house and a window or door is unlocked. He'll shut and lock everything for us. If we forgot the keys, he'll open up when we get home." By this point I was shaking. "That's so scary. How the hell do you live here?" Winston seemed almost nonchalant about it. "It isn't easy. I still lay awake some nights, staring into the dark, wondering if the ghost forgot to do the dishes. But Mum can't afford an unhaunted house, so we just do our best not to let it bother us." "Not let it bother you?" "Right. I tried for over an hour to get to sleep. I couldn't. This was the most terrifying scenario I'd ever actually been a part of. A real live ghost. Finally, it got so bad, I woke up the whole house and begged Winston's mum to call my mum. As we waited for her to arrive, it happened. We were all sitting in the living room. The lights were dim, probably to save on electricity. Everything was completely quiet. We eyed each other nervously. Then, I let out a sneeze. Achoo! That's when we heard it. "God bless you." I ran screaming from the house into the night and never went back. Hairless dogs. One night, some friends of mine were having a little get-together. They called it a Halloween party, but it was just your average gathering. A few drinks, a few laughs, typical fun little evening. Then, somebody, perhaps thinking the party wasn't Halloweeny enough, started telling spooky stories. This didn't bother me. I had always been a fan of Halloween and getting scared. And after so many years of looking for things that could scare the loving shit out of me, I considered myself a veteran of the holiday. Nothing would be able to faze me. After the first few stories, and they were good, hair-raising ones, I started getting bored. Within our little circle, I started talking to the person next to me about my new dog. He was so fluffy, I just loved to pet him. Couldn't help telling how excited I was to have him. His fur was so soft, I felt like I could just sit and stroke him all day. In between trying to frighten each other, one of my friends overheard and said, "There are hairless dogs, you know." I stopped cold in the middle of my sentence and looked at her, unbridled fear strangling my face. "Piss off," I blurted. "You're just trying to freak me out. It won't work." That was a lie. It was working very well. She smiled like it didn't affect her at all, Evil bitch. Look here, I'll show you. She started pulling out a phone. No one else seemed to be paying any attention. They must have heard her. Were they all in on it? I felt my heart tighten in my chest. I was only able to take short, clipped breaths as she walked towards me. She stopped in front of me and held up the phone. No amount of mental fortitude, no number of prior Halloween terrors could have prepared me. There, on her screen, was the most disturbing, gut-wrenching, horrifying image to ever invade my being. A real, hairless dog. I felt sick. I started sweating. Terrifying as it was, I couldn't bring myself to look away. Kept looking for a tell, something to prove the photo was doctored. The animal in the picture appeared to be alive, and it looked completely real. Just sitting there, smiling, happy, hairless. I choked back vomit. I tried to stand, but I was too dizzy. I had to get out of there. I told myself this must be a joke. She had somehow put that image on the internet. If true, it was the sickest, most twisted prank I'd ever heard of. I stammered, trying to find the words to tell her how inappropriate it was, to get that thing out of my face. I seriously thought I was going to hurl all over my buddy's rug. Just then, as I was starting to feel like I could regain at least some self-control, my other friend walked over, held up his phone and said, "Sure, they have hairless cats too." I passed out. Adult onset diabetes. Halloween used to be my favorite holiday. I loved it so much. Carve pumpkins, tell scary stories, and go trick-or-treating. It wasn't until I was much older I found out doctors believe the habits that lead to adult onset diabetes start when you're young.
Weremen. There are stories people tell of strange beasts, gruesome monsters that haunt one's nightmares. The horror begins with an ordinary wolf. They roam the forest in packs and live like any other wild animal. But when the moon isn't full, they transform. Changing shape, they can appear close to human, just as any one of us. Atop a hillock, or perhaps alone in a field, dimly lit by the not full moon, the beasts begin their terrifying transformation. Slowly, grotesquely, they grow hands where their paws once were. They lose most of their hair, and their long animal faces become oddly human. If tranquilized and tagged by a wereman, other wolves will attain the same curse as well. Often, when one of these creatures makes the change, they seek to resemble us as closely as possible, wearing slacks and polo t-shirts, or perhaps the jersey of a favored sports club. They even take on some of man's more banal, disgusting habits. They drive autos, order fast food, even walk in the mall at times, cradling a Cinnabon, gawking at trousers. There was a rumour of one in London serving Chinese food. Of the more shocking stories was the discovery of one of these beasts by an office worker. The animal was asleep in the morning next to a computer, having apparently spent the evening liking kitten photos, reviewing restaurants online. It had even prepared a tax return. When roused and in its normal form, the animal hurried away. But if that same worker had chanced upon the creature the night before, during the unfull moon. Well, who's to say what may have become of the poor bastard? If they can't talk a person into Yahtzee or canasta, they often corner that person with a viewing of their stamp collection. And the scariest thing about this phenomenon is its unpredictability. As long as the moon's not full, it can happen. Maybe it's happened to you. Truly terrifying. Do you want to hear something truly terrifying? Something that will shake you to your very core. If not, turn this video off right now. Okay, you were warned. Here it is. You're dying. It's true. There's no way around it. It doesn't matter where you live, which fad diet you maintain, the kind of exercise you get. You can avoid drugs, enjoy social activities, and even get plenty of sleep in a locked and guarded bunker. Your end will find its way to you. Every breath, every smile, every footstep is one closer to the last. There's nothing you can do. Do you think this is humorous? Thanks for watching.